Now, before I begin, I'd like to give you a little bit of information about the state's higher education system. It's comprised of 3 branches: the California Community Colleges, California State University, and the University of California. Together, these schools serve over 3.5 million students and make up the state's 3rd largest area of spending after K-12 education and health and human services. All 3 branches have undergone significant reductions in state funding.
We've made progress, but we still have very serious budget problems in California. We simply have to take a stand against further budget cuts for schools or for our public safety.
We can't keep cutting schools and expect our economy to grow.
We're not offering any kind of panacea, and we're not going to get there overnight. But it is time to take a stand to protect our schools and public safety.
I believe we have very complex problems in this country. What is wrong with this country is not that we face problems that we have not faced before. We face a deficiency in our problem-solving mechanism. And the reason we face a difficulty in our problem-solving mechanism is that a good portion of this country has created an alternate universe.
Cal State University students are facing more tuition hikes next year, and many say they can't afford more fee hikes and may be forced to drop out.
Can I live or can I go to school?
Classes being cut, faculty being laid off, which means bigger class sizes.
Work 2 jobs, 3 jobs just to get by and still be in debt.
Do you want an extra $500?
Prop 30 is the difference between a refund check or a bill. Which one would you like?
Prop 30 raises $6 to $9 billion in new revenue each year for public education and public safety. It does this by raising income taxes 1 to 3% for 7 years on the wealthiest of Californians. In addition, it raises the sales tax 1/4 cent for 4 years. That's a penny more on a $4 cheeseburger.
Prop 30 should matter to you because it's affecting you in a big way. It's affecting your tuition, it's affecting your classes, and it's affecting your graduation plan.
Fees have more than doubled in the last decade, and as the Board of Trustees was inside voting on yet another tuition increase, students were here on the outside trying to prove a point. Today, the board approved more fee and tuition hikes.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carried.
Enough is enough when it comes to fee hikes in the CSU system.
If Prop 30 passes, we keep our classes. K-12 gets funded, preventing a 3-week loss of classes. A $250 million cut to CSU is avoided, preventing class cuts, layoffs, and enrollment cuts. $5.6 billion in funding is freed up, which could go to higher education, healthcare, and other services. A tuition buyout for this year gets funded. CSU students would get a tuition refund of $498.
If Proposition 30 does not pass, it means the CSU is going to suffer a detrimental cut to higher education, and this is only on top of the cuts that we've been facing for the last 10 years.
Students say the cuts to the state's education system are devastating.
Need to make some very, very serious ongoing cuts and revenue enhancements to get us through the district, through the next couple of years.
So districts have had to become more creative in figuring out how to deliver a quality education to our students with a substantial reduction in resources.
And when it comes to higher education, it's not just the UC and Cal State systems that face serious cuts. Community colleges will also feel the pain.
It's becoming much more difficult for students to get an education. Where once we could pretty much serve anyone that wanted to go to college, that is not an option today.
To state politics now, Governor Jerry Brown delivered a tough budget proposal today that could ultimately affect nearly every Californian.
What I propose will be painful. It's going to take sacrifice from every sector of California.
During this recession, student enrollment in community colleges has skyrocketed. The unemployed are looking to retrain themselves.
We retool and we recharge the economy. We are basically that workforce development arm that leads to, ideally, recovery.
The atmosphere is already tight. Almost every one of these classes offered is full. In fact, it's estimated that 250,000 California community college students were turned away last year.
Have the certificate that says you know the job, then they don't hire you.
If it fails, community colleges will likely suffer another $500 million in annual cuts for the next 5 years.
Serious and growing concerns about state funding and student affordability and the potential effects on educational quality. 6 in 10 affected a lot by recent state budget cuts, and that educational quality will suffer if the state makes more budget cuts. There are high levels of concern about some of the measures already being taken, including increasing student fees and tuition, reducing course offerings, and reducing admissions. Most say that state funding is not enough for higher education, and there's a growing share of residents who say that a very high priority should be placed on state spending in this area.
Apology on the school beat. Now everybody throw your hands in the sky. And if you have a dream, then put them up real high.
We'll reach our goals even if we live our lives. Just never give up.
Let's stand up to these budget cuts. Extra, extra, yo, read all about it. Students in California will see their classes overcrowded. Didn't want the class cause the teacher's tough. On the wait list but there's still no luck. Class got cut cause the budget cuts, and they'd rather spend the money on the ones handcuffed. But don't cut the programs, they inspire us to learn. Elementary kids are affected too, we need to be concerned.
Yes on 30. Schools and Local Public Safety Protection Act.